All right, this is my Bridgefest weekend flood of 2018 photo diary, originally uploaded to Facebook. And basically, what happened is on the weekend of Bridgefest, which is a big celebration in the Upper Peninsula, Houghton, Hancock area. We got a lot of rain on that Saturday night, and it resulted in some catastrophic flooding. And the morning after, basically, I had no idea about the flooding. When I first heard about it that following morning, I was like, well, I got to get my camera and I got to see what's happening. I got to see what this stuff looks like. And this first photo is actually pretty close to where I live. It's one of the sidewalks on the way to Water Street, basically. And as you can see, there was some caving in there. This next photo is actually like a snowmobile trail / four-wheeler trail that's pretty much not even there anymore. As you can see, it looks strange. It looks just plain old weird. And I used to actually walk that on my way to work in the past quite often. So, I wasn't completely unaffected by the flood myself. And here, this is just kind of like a pile of rocks next to the Portage Lift Bridge. And I just wanted to show that all kinds of weird little changes were visible the day after the flood. And here you can see some water pouring out from under the cracks in a wall, indicating that, as I wrote here, I thought this water bubbling out onto the sidewalk was cute. So that's my note for that photo. But it's just to show you that, even the little things were catching my eye on that following day. And here you can see some kind of ferocious-looking water, potentially dangerous. And here's some more water again, kind of a close-up of it. And water again. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It didn't normally look like that, I'll just put it that way. And here, you're probably starting to notice a theme. Some of the photos involve water, obviously, because it's about the flooding stuff going on. And here you can get a feel for just how much water was being forced into, the various areas. And yeah, this is it's on my way to Taco Bell, basically. You see all the logs in there, and it's pretty crazy. Now, this photo is actually behind the Northern Foot Care place, and it's a raging torrent, basically. It's one of the scariest moments on my trip, actually. And I mean that. I was actually kind of scared of that water. It was fierce. And if I had fallen in there, I would have probably died. I'll just put it that way. I mean, it's actually... I wasn't even that close to it either. That's one of the freakiest photos I took on that day. And here's another one of that. You really get the feel of just how fierce that water was. Another photo. And let's see. This is behind the mental health place in Houghton. You can see the roads cracking. And that's another culvert type of with some caving going on. So this was a bit of a WTF moment. And Taco Bell actually looks normal from what you can see of it there. But when I actually got to Taco Bell, it was not. And what's interesting about this particular road is that it reminded me of like a Salvador Dali painting. It was kind of like walking into a Salvador Dali painting when I was walking past there. And I can still walk past there today and get basically the same feeling. It's like a surrealistic experience. And like I said, it's like a Salvador Dali painting on a bad day. And this is just a sign that's fallen. It's kind of, it's kind of like an artsy fartsy type of photo, but sometimes you got to do these things. And this is another picture of that road. My caption for this one is "Drive with caution." So there's another bit of a photo, just to give you some perspective on that messed up road. And like my caption says, I don't think a road's supposed to look like that. And indeed. So for this photo, I note that there's actually a little bit of a drop there. So, it's probably not deadly, but you could probably hurt yourself if you were to fall down there. So I was actually pretty careful maneuvering around these areas. And here's another photo. You can kind of see just how much damage there was. Like, that whole section of road was screwed up. I didn't get any closer because there were like people doing construction and stuff, and I just didn't want to get on their nerves or anything, so I kind of kept my distance. I was nice about it, and they were nice to me too. I didn't really have any problems. And here's one of my first Taco Bell views. I got a pretty good look at that. You can see the signs fallen. And obviously, the drive-through that used to be there is definitely not what it once was. And it is more of the Taco Bell drive-through. Not sure who that guy is. But, yeah. Let's see. So, just to remind you, this used to be the Taco Bell drive-through in Houghton. And I used to eat at that place pretty often before going into work. So I don't mean to laugh like derisively, but it's crazy, you know what I mean? It's just nuts. And there the sign is. You get a better view of what happened. You can still see some of the water there. Definitely abnormal. And this is actually near the Walmart in Houghton. It used to be a tiny little stream, but at that time it looked pretty much like an actual river. And yeah, it was quite a sight to behold. That it might not look that crazy to you, but if you put it in perspective, it is actually pretty crazy. And there is another photo of it. All right, and this is the road that goes from Walmart to Bamboo Asian Restaurant. That was basically completely gone, and I asked the road crew how close I should get, and the guy recommended that I not go any further. And I decided that, sometimes chickening out makes sense. I didn't want to take my chances and be really brave about it and fall down there and die. So I just kept my distance on that one. There's another photo of that road. Let's see. So, like I note here, some of the flood actually looked kind of pretty, as weird as that sounds. And I took this photo for precisely that reason. It's actually, I can respect, the power of nature, even if it's damaging. And here's this is nothing too fancy. It's just another damaged section of road. And this particular photo pretty much has nothing to do with the flood. I always liked that tree, so I just got a photo of it. I think it's a nice tree. I like how it leans in that direction. So, and this is, another thing that didn't look like that before. And I'd consider that slightly dangerous. I wouldn't recommend, you know, walking around in these areas without paying any attention to where you're stepping. So this is downtown Houghton. And as you can see, that street's definitely messed up. I've walked up and down that street numerous times in my life. And here's Agate Street, which was really messed up in the flood. Just, wow. Yeah. Obviously, you can see people working on it already. Just like one day later, they were trying to, fix everything back up to where it was. But, it's going to be a process. Here's another street that's near Michigan Tech. Look at all those rocks. There's definitely... it definitely didn't look like that before. And this is on my way to Pilgrim River, which was actually like a 5-mile walk. And I don't remember exactly where this was, but you can definitely see the damage. And this is the nature trail near the Pilgrim River. You can see part of it's caved in. And yeah, that's the boardwalk. And the boards were soggy too. It was another weird thing. And let's see. This is the same little mini bridge on the Pilgrim River nature trail. Obviously, that's collapsed. And I actually walked over this bridge, so no one can say I'm a complete coward. Yeah, and that obviously doesn't look normal. And you can see all the brown water down there. And this is the Pilgrim River itself. And like I said before, it's surprisingly pretty for what it was. And even though the water's kind of brown and icky looking, it was still a sight to behold. And like I say in this caption, I doubt those sticks and logs were supposed to be there. I mean, look at that. That's, yeah. And more of the Pilgrim River. I kind of took this photo at an odd angle. Pilgrim River again. Lots of trees. Let's see. These board planks were partially submerged, and they also felt a little bit soggy. Like I'd walk in there, and like the water would kind of like ooze up. It was weird. And let's see what's up next. Oh yeah, I just took this photo because I like the name Peepsock Trail. And as you can see some flood damage there even. And now this it's more impressive in context. It's just like a random parking lot. And the day before it probably had none of this water. And I couldn't fit all of the puddle, all of the image into my camera. And but if you think about it, it's actually a pretty amazing photo unto itself. Because like I said, that was not even there. And it's just a random parking lot. I wasn't there the day before that puddle. Here's some filthy looking water. And yeah, pretty gross. And here's, like I say, when you see geese and you have a camera, you have to take a photo. It's the law. And here's another photo of those geese. So not all of the photos are like about the freakish flood damage and all that. Got a couple nature moments in there. And this debris was all over in the water of the Portage Canal. And here's the bridge, looking actually relatively normal. The Portage Lift Bridge. Here's more rain. As you can see, it was actually starting to rain again, when I was taking some of these photos. And this is a flooded street near where bridgefest took place the previous night, and you can definitely see it's just flooded. See, and like I noted in the caption, there used to be a street here, right? And yes, you can still see the yellow lines. Let's see. And here's a weird sight. I could actually see this from my house, in the neighboring city of Hancock. This is what I call impromptu waterfalls that were put near the porta potties by nature. It's it was weird. It almost looked like it was done intentionally. Like it could have been man-made or something, but no, definitely not. And here's more proof that this is a street in case you were having doubts. Let's see. Like I said before, it started raining again. And so I decided to skedaddle. I didn't want to stick around for the flood part 2. But here's another photo of just how friggin' crazy the rain was. I was basically burying the entire street as I was taking a photo of it. And that's also why I started chicking out. So this is basically me back home, heading back there. And as you can see, there was fresh water put there. So you can see just how much it started to rain again and why people were probably getting freaked out. And after this flood, I'm sure a lot of people are going to be a little bit scared every time it rains now, because they're going to have like traumatic flashbacks or whatever. And this is, like I said, this is what I was literally seeing from outside of my place. And the water was pouring all morning and all afternoon. And it's not pouring like that anymore, thankfully. But it just gives you a perspective of how much water there actually was when I was doing that all day, pouring like that. You can see that it was brown. It's just this gross brown floodwater. And here's Portview Park, which is also very close to my house. It was relatively unaffected, and thankfully, I was actually safe. So not everybody was. Sorry to say, but it was definitely an interesting experience, and it seems like we're bouncing back now. Like the things are starting to get back to normal, and that is my little flood photo diary for Bridgefest weekend 2018.